Okay. All right. Well, welcome everyone.
Wow.
Glad to see you. I wanted first to invite you all to join me on May 10th for our next EdTech strategy session. This will be two lightning talks also about AI. So if you want to continue learning, there's first a history of AI and then a tool to help you evaluate AI-enabled educational technology tools. So on May 10th at 1 p.m. Eastern, I hope you will join us for the EdTech strategy session. Welcome back to Camp GPT. Very happy to see you again. Today is our second session. So we're going to start out with some review from the first session, some show and tell of what you worked on between sessions. And then today we'll talk about AI literacy or teaching for AI. My name is Rachel Riggs. I'm technical advisor for the EdTech Center at World Education, and I lead our AI for Learning and Work initiative. So you may, if you joined us on April 11th, then you were there for the camp orientation, and we talked about teaching with AI. So we looked at some different tools, different prompting strategies to help you use AI effectively, and also some principles around AI ethics and responsible use of AI. Some of you, I think we had 3 submissions of the Camp GPT worksheet. So some of you experimented and submitted your prompts and reflections on the Padlet or by email. So thank you if you did that. And today, like I said, we'll do show and tell and then get into teaching for AI. So first, before we get into our show and tell, I wanted to see if anyone remembers the camp rules that we introduced in the first session. This is the acronym GEAR. So there's GEAR. Does anyone remember what G stands for? Little quiz, pop quiz. Anyone? I'll give you a hint. It's blank before blank. And of course, the first word starts with G. This emoji should also be a clue.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't remember. I was working on the same time listening.
That's okay.
It's something like geniusly.
Okay, I see
I was on deployment of and reflection.
Does this have to do with global thinking?
Global, yes.
No, not global.
No.
Look at this emoji. You see the emoji behind the G? What is that?
Goals.
Goals. Yeah,
Goals.
good. Okay, so
Goals.
the first rule is goals before tools. The second one starts with E. Does anyone remember what that one was? And a good clue here is the little lab, whatever that's called, I forget.
Empowerment.
I gave a hint in the chat. You see it?
Experience.
Experiment.
Yeah, experiment and have fun. Good. The A stands for avoid blank. Avoid what? This is a clue here.
Avoid bugs.
Avoid bugs. Good. And then the last one was remember to Blank up. Remember to
Reflection. Reflect on.
starts with a B. Buddy up. Remember to buddy up. So, translation of these different camp rules. Goals before tools, thinking about learners' needs and the learning goals, and then choosing tools that can support those goals. Experiment and have fun is all about being willing to break out of our comfort zone with technology and experiment and tinker without worrying about messing anything up too much. Avoid bugs. We talked about some of the drawbacks of AI, like biased images, inaccurate information. And so avoid bugs is all about being aware that no technology is perfect and knowing where there are drawbacks, not becoming too over-reliant or trusting. And remember to buddy up is about human centeredness and collaboration. So that if we come together, use the tools, share with other people how we're using them, what our experience has been, then we're going to make more progress together because these are such new tools and really the evidence base for them is not robust. So we have to share with one another. Okay. So those are our camp rules for Camp GPT. Before we get into the content for today, I wanted to do a little show and tell. So I know that Victoria and let's see who are the other ones, Norma and last one was Giovanna, have all submitted worksheets. So you guys did experiment. I hope you had fun. I hope you avoided bugs. And we would love to hear from you guys if you're here today and willing to share a little bit about what you did. So these are some prompts that might help, right? What was your goal? Like, why did you start using the tools in the first place? What are some of the prompting strategies you used? What was the result? Did you find any bugs or was there anything about it that, wasn't useful or you didn't like or wasn't accurate? And then just general reflections on the process. Are you likely to continue using the tool that you used? Are you looking to experiment with more? Anything like that. Okay. So we just want to hear from you. What was your experience testing out some of these new generative AI tools? Can I have a volunteer who will speak first and share?
Okay. Hey.
Hi.
Surprise. I didn't know I was gonna show. I had trouble connecting, so sorry about that. What I did was I used before ChatGPT and Gemini. I didn't know about Claude AI, so I wanted to try it. And I just gave the same prompt to all of them. And I used Spanish to do the prompt, even though the work was in English, just to know how it will answer. And it was interesting. I don't know if you saw what I submitted, but ChatGPT actually started writing in Spanglish, even though the prompt said create a quiz in English. So that was interesting. Some of the questions were in Spanish, some of the questions were in English. Gemini, I asked half of the questions to be choose the correct sentence. And it actually choose the correct word to fill in the blanks. And I was curious because that was not
The instructions.
the instruction.
Mhm.
Although Gemini, the the instructions for the student and the interpretation results, that guidance was just like, wow, like this is good, this is medium, you need to reinforce this. That was awesome. So actually Claude AI was the closest to something that I might use in my classroom. The questions, I corrected every single questions. They were good questions and they were correct. The options were right. So I was happy with it. And I've continued having fun. It is difficult. It might sound easy just to give an instruction, but the thing is how to say, the load of the information that you receive back to check everything. It takes a while. So it's not like you're not saving a lot of work. You are just checking and making sure that it's correct. It is nice to ask for ideas, like give me ideas for an end of the school year's activity with adults. And it will give you, like, instead of going to Google and finding 10,000 sites with different ideas, it's going to give you like a list probably collected from those 10,000 sites. But yeah, that's what I did.
That's really interesting, Giovanna. So two things I'm taking away is one, you feel Claude was the best tool for you. And two, you think it's better for maybe generating creative ideas, but not a final product, because then you have to go and check everything there. Okay.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. Thanks for sharing. Any questions for Giovanna? Do you have a question for Giovanna? Okay. Okay, who else would like to share?
I can do it, but I need I'm Victoria. I need to post my submitted work.
Okay,
Could you do
sure,
it?
yeah.
In order to remember, but I have with me the product, the survey. I can post, I can project my survey, but I need the guidance that what I did.
Okay, you want to share your screen? Is that what you mean?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think you can share your screen. Let me see. Let's.
Okay.
Hey,
please.
Rebecca.
Okay. I can do it. I can do
Yeah?
it. Let me
Okay.
see. Miss Reyes survey. I'm going to share.
Okay,
Yeah,
I have it here too. I have the post. I just put the post in our Padlet. So you guys can here, Miss Reyes, I have it here. In the Padlet. I just posted it. So everyone can see it. It's
okay.
loading.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Victoria's submission is right here.
Okay. Let me see.
And I'll copy link and put the link in the chat so people
Okay,
can.
let me show you first my survey, class survey.
Okay, show us.
Okay, could you see it?
Yes, we see it.
Yes. Okay, thank you very much. Miss Reyes class survey. Okay, I dated on March 13. Okay, this is the name of the student. Okay, I wanted to know it was my first experience teaching middle school students, and I wanted to, I'm doing my practicum.
Okay.
Okay. And then after that, it was a class on cognates. I wanted to know what was my teaching, how was my speed, if they, and this is what I did was look for the information in ChatGPT, I put the prompts. I need a survey about my speed, how much have they learned from my class, if the class was interesting to the students, how effective was my teaching, if they could learn, and evaluate the general quality of the class. This is what I did. It was my first experience doing that, and then I put those or this information on the Google Forms, and that's all. This is what I did, madam. I'm starting. I'm starting in AI using for making some assessments.
To make the survey.
Mhm.
Good. Okay.
Thank you
Ms.
very much.
Reyes, did
Uh-huh.
you change from when ChatGPT gave you the result? Did you
Mhm.
change anything from ChatGPT's version and your version, or it's the same?
No, I took it, but I have been using ChatGPT for ideas. For
Okay.
example, I'm doing an assignment and say, okay, I want an idea of how can I handle here, and I'm using to make my ideas or to put in context my ideas. This is what I try
Mhm.
to say. Give me some clue, and then with my experience, and then I put many things together. Not only what GPT is telling me, I'm using both. I'm using ChatGPT, and the other is Copilot.
Copilot. Okay.
Copilot. This is what I use. Okay,
Great.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
I hope you can understand me.
We can understand you perfectly.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Do you have questions for Miss Reyes? Any other campers? Do you have questions for Miss Reyes?
So was her question, or did the ChatGPT generate the questions to put in there?
No, okay, yes. The ChatGPT gave me the ideas of the questionnaire. I say, okay, speed of my class, how much effective, the pacing of my class, the level of interest, for example. How much have you learned, or something like that? And they gave me the ideas, and then I put it in Google Form to, you know,
Oh, okay,
Mhm.
okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Ms.
And
Capers.
in the chat, I put a link to Victoria's worksheet that she filled out. So you can see in her prompt, she specified asking students to evaluate the speed, interest, learning, effectiveness, and general quality of the class. So she
Exactly.
actually had some criteria that she was looking for, and you put those details in the prompt, which is a great strategy. Okay. Is there anyone else? Let's see. I know Norma, you also did a worksheet, so I don't want to put you on the spot if you can't share, but we would love to hear from you, Norma, if you want to share. And anyone else, even if you didn't complete the worksheet, but you have an experience you'd like to share, we have a few more minutes. So do I have another volunteer? Come on.
I volunteer.
Yay.
As I said in my reflection, this is both amazing and scary. I get the feeling Big Brother is watching, but I was amazed at how I could drill down my questions and come up with realistic responses using the example of a lesson plan. And I got some really good ideas for my class. And when I
Yay.
got all finished, I was showing my husband how it works, and he's computer illiterate. So he wanted to know the drop ratio of a bullet. And so I typed it in and read the immediate response, and he was just dumbfounded.
Wow. So Norma, what did you, oh, are you here still? I hope I didn't lose you
I
guys.
am.
Oh, okay. So you used it for the lesson plan. It sounds like you and your husband were impressed by the speed of it. I wonder how satisfied were you with the lesson plan it produced? And I'm wondering what you think about Giovanna mentioning that it's really good for generating ideas, but maybe not a final product. Did you find that to be true as well? What are your takeaways?
I could use it as a final product, but I like to put my own spin on things. So in a pinch, like if I needed to have a substitute lesson plan ready, I would
Mhm.
use it
Okay.
as
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah. Great. So another question I had for the group is, did anyone try out generating images or songs or audio or other types of media? Sounds like we did a lot of the text chatbot stuff. Did anybody try other types of media?
I did.
You did. Okay, Norma, what did you generate?
Well, and I also teach Google skills, and they have auto draw, and I
Yeah.
have used that in my classroom, and that is just crazy. That is amazing. I am not artistic in the least, and so yesterday the class was to generate drawings from auto draw, open up slides, and write sentences describing what they drew. Just like that.
That's awesome. How fun. That gets into some of what we'll talk about today, which is really how do we bring these tools into the classroom and support learners in developing their AI literacy and their skills to use the different tools. Norma, I think maybe some people haven't seen auto draw. Do you want to tell me something to draw and we'll show them how it works?
A tractor trailer.
Oh goodness, Norma, I'm not good at that.
That's what
Okay,
one of my students drew yesterday.
Okay, let me think. How do you draw a track? Like, wait, what's a tractor trailer? Is that a tractor for a farm?
No, I think that's what the vehicle part is to like
Oh, is it like this kind of thing?
no, but what I drew was a sailboat. That's real easy.
Let's see. Okay, so what you guys can still see up here now that I've drawn these shapes that are clearly not even a tractor trailer. It has generated up here some things that it thinks I'm trying to draw. So you can see kind of what it's picking up on. And I could click on this first one that it thinks that I'm drawing a microwave, and it'll automatically populate that microwave. So let's try, I'll try sailboat. Let's start over. And this one will probably be easy. You can see it automatically populated these three up at the top. And now I've got this nice one. And you can actually go and You can change the color. You can do a different background. You can add text, sailboat. So you can kind of see how it might be fun. I think especially if you're teaching English language learners, and like Norma said, you want them to create some kind of vocabulary journal and slides or something. This is a fun tool to show them machine learning and artificial intelligence in a way that is aligned with their lesson objectives. Cool. Thanks for sharing, Norma. Anyone else want to talk about other tools they tried out? Okay, so we're going to do a little activity here. And I want you guys, we're just going to write a prompt together. You're going to go and scan this QR code with your mobile phone. Once you get there, it should, oh, it's not giving me a guest option on the, you know what? You should do it on your computer, because on your phone, it doesn't give you the guest option. Let me put this link in the chat so you guys can do it on your computer. If you do it on a computer, it should give you an option to enter as guest, so you don't need to sign in. And I just want you to practice with the prompt framework. So you're going to write a prompt. Did that work? Barely. Hold on a second. Let me get my stuff sorted here. There we go. Okay, here's the link in the chat. When you get here, you should have the option where you can continue as a guest. And I want you to use the prompt framework to prompt this chatbot to do anything for you. So many of you did this already over between sessions. And just, we're going to do it one more time. So enter a prompt with a role, action, context, examples, and format. Does someone want to give me a role? We can draft this together. Role, you are a, oh, someone put it in the chat. Okay, you are a hairdresser. And then give me an action. What do we want the hairdresser to do? Has to be something text-based that they can do. Obviously they can't they can't cut hair. It can't cut hair. You are a hairdresser. Let's say maybe develop 3. Oh, okay. Send a promo email. Okay. Draft a promotional email advertising your services for wedding hairstyles. Okay, so that's the action. Context, you work in South Carolina, where many weddings take place in a traditional church building. I'm making assumptions here, but just trying to give some context. So we have role, action, context, examples, and format. So I am not going to give it an example, but I could, if I had a past promotional email, I could copy and paste it and say, here's an example of something you've sent in the past, and then give a format. So I'll say, write it as a letter with brackets around the information that needs to be personalized. Okay. And let's see what it does. Now, Norma, you're asking a good question. I better not have just lost my whole prompt I just wrote. I hope it's just loading here. Norma's asking a good question, which is, do you have to be so detailed? And the answer is no. So I could just say, you are a hairdresser, write an email. Why it's not, oh, it's, oops, something went wrong. Okay, it's not working right now. That's okay. let's go to Gemini. I could say, you're a hairdresser, write an email. And then from there, I'm going to have to continue. I'm just not going to get something as close to maybe what I'm working on, which is okay if I'm really just trying to brainstorm. Oh my gosh. It's really hard to do a demo. But I want everyone to see it because something that we're going to talk about today is really the classroom. How does this work when we bring it into a classroom? So last time we talked about, okay, we can lesson plan, we could develop contextualized activities, but then what can we do in the classroom with these tools to help learners develop the skills to use them as well? Let's do this. You're a hairdresser, write a promo email. So as you're watching me do this, I want you guys to be thinking about what skills do learners need to use generative AI tools or AI tools in general. Okay, so you see it gave me this nice email. Hey there, gorgeous. Spring is in the air and it's the perfect time to refresh your look. Here, I can actually modify it. So let's say that I want that paragraph to be shorter. Just click on shorter. It's going to regenerate it. This is Gemini. This is the Google product. Gemini, you'll also see in like Google Slides, Google Docs, and you can use it in those apps as well. So I've written this prompt. I got this email. What skills do learners need, right? So we have learned some different prompting strategies. We also covered in the last session some bugs or things to be aware of. What awareness and skills do learners need is going to be one thing we talk about today. Another thing we're going to talk about is how does this shape or change, or what kind of evolutions do we as teachers need to go through now that this kind of software is widely available? What does that mean for the subjects that we teach or for the way that we present information to students? So we're going to start with that topic. So we're going to do a little bit more talking about teaching with AI. This time, not so much just what are the tools, how do we use them effectively, but also how do the tools kind of change the teaching practice. So as a reminder, last time we talked about these 3 tasks for the teacher, right? Teach for AI, that's the foundational skills, knowledge, and attitudes needed from a user perspective. Teach about AI, that's the more technical things that students could learn from a developer's perspective, like how machine learning works or data visualization, some of the technical things that might prepare them for a future in developing AI models. And then teach with AI. So that's where we are, that's where we were last time, and that's where we are right now today, appropriately applying AI-based tools in the classroom. So when we talked about teaching with AI in our last session, we talked about some of the ethical principles around bias, misinformation, and those considerations. We also talked about what's effective in terms of prompting strategies and really getting the most out of our use of AI tools, and especially the new generative AI tools. Today, I want to talk about what evolves in light of generative AI. What about teaching might be more important or need new emphasis? So one thing that I think is going to become increasingly important, not just important, but something that I think we can do even better with generative AI tools, is apply these frameworks that give students more personalized learning experiences. Personalized learning is something you'll hear about a lot with AI. It really enables, the AI tools themselves tend to be really good at personalizing learning because of machine learning and the way they can adapt to a learner's needs. But it also enables us as teachers to provide more personalized learning. One example of that is universal design for learning. This is an approach or a framework that emphasizes learner variability and accessibility, and is designed to give learners multiple means of engaging and learning, multiple means of representation in what they're learning, and multiple means of action and expression. I wonder in the chat if anyone is already familiar with universal design for learning. I'm not going to give a full overview on it today because it's quite robust and in-depth. But I want us to think about how AI can support us in leveraging these really important and effective approaches to designing learning experiences. What I've just put in the chat is a lightning talk. It's like a 20-minute video on universal design for learning from a fellow adult educator in Illinois. But essentially, I also want to show you guys a tool. There is a chatbot for universal design for learning to support you in leveraging the approach. And I've got my laptop over here, so I need to grab the, yeah, okay. Oops. There's a comment in the chat. Yeah, it definitely helps with individualized learning, Norma is saying in the chat. This is a tool called Ludia. I want to show you. And this tool is specialized for the task. Oh, goodness gracious, I'm having no luck today, you guys. Why? What is going on? This tool is specialized for the purpose of universal design for learning, for supporting teachers in that. Now, Poe.com is actually, it's like a whole marketplace for different chatbots specialized for different purposes. So it's a fun place to explore. But I wanted to find Ludia to show you guys that. Of course, it's not showing up now. Where are you? Explore. Oh, here we go. Ludia. There we go. So you can see, hi, I am Ludia, your AI-powered UDL partner. How can I support you today? Please share your subject, grade level, learning goals. Oopsie. Okay, so what you do here is you can enter in, for example, let's say I'm going to teach adult learners about angles in math. Help me create a lesson plan that applies universal design for learning. So it will give you potential barriers, some things you could include, and then you can collaborate with it more to really get to designing with those multiple means of representation, action, expression, and engagement in mind. So that's one way AI can help us lean into some of its unique benefits for applying these evidence-based approaches to teaching and learning. Another thing that I think will become increasingly important, in addition to providing a lot of different ways for learners to engage with content and really personalizing that learning experience, another thing I think will become really important is project and problem-based learning. So by a show of hands, does anybody here already use project or problem-based learning? Oopsies. By a show of virtual hands. Oh my gosh, go back. There we go. Okay, in the chat, somebody said, okay, yes, Norma loves PBL, project-based learning. When we think about kind of, like Norma was saying, it is surprising what these tools can do. And how will that now impact what we do in the classroom? So if learners can go to ChatGPT and quickly draft an essay or get an answer to a scientific question very quickly, how do we then evolve the learning experience to accommodate that? And one of those ways is to think about innovative ways of instructing and assessing learners' knowledge. And another thing we've seen is that it's less and less about summative assessment, right? So, something at the end of a long unit of learning that says, okay, you check the box, you know how to do this, but really more formative assessments throughout, and looking at what is a learner's process, and do they know how to access the information and then verify the information. So especially in writing, how can they be using generative AI throughout the writing process, and then how can we as educators ensure that they're still developing those essential skills in their writing. Project and problem-based learning are approaches that are really good and adaptable for this evolution of our practice, because they give learners more real world skills. It activates a lot of different kinds of skills. It gives them authentic problems and projects to focus on, and develops a lot of the success skills, or whatever you call them. You guys are a TSTM state. Maybe you call them the skills that matter. These are approaches that align with really activating those skills that matter, those success skills like critical thinking, problem solving, analyzing information, collaboration, and so on and so forth. So those are just two ideas for how, what we can focus on as teachers beyond just using the tools and using them really well to save us time, but how then do we apply approaches and methods in the classroom that are going to be adaptable in light of what is happening with technology advancing. So I want to hear from you guys, because none of this is decided and set in stone. This is still a new technology and these are new tools. What do you think? What are other instructional approaches that you think will become increasingly important? Or how can you include more formative assessment in your practice so that you can have more authentic ways and more frequent touch points to assess learners developing skills? Any ideas here? Have you thought about, oh, wow, how is this going to change the way people learn or the way that I teach? Norma, what did you and your husband think when you guys saw it and you were like, whoa, that happens really, really fast? Did you talk about the learning experience or the cognitive load that's taking off? Student-led instruction, Norman say. Oh, Giovanna, I saw you went camera on. Go ahead, chime in. This is a discussion.
Okay, this is something that I do with my adult class, and is you have to be able to differentiate between knowledge and information. Because even before AI, you have a smartphone that is smarter than anybody else in the group. And you have access to so much information. Anything you want to ask, you're going to have the answer right there. Having the information not necessarily translates to having the knowledge. And I think that is something that maybe people are forgetting, that we need to teach the students what actual knowledge is. Like, what if I ask you to explain that to me without having that tool? Will you be able to do it? Or if you ask ChatGPT to write an essay because you think the differences between these two articles and you like this one better, and ChatGPT came with this answer, it will be like, okay, explain to me explain to me why that article is right or why is it wrong. Like, I don't know.
I like that a lot, Giovanna, because we live, we're coming out of the information age. Now we're in the age of AI. And I love that distinction between information and knowledge.
People go to the
And
doctor and they already have a lot of information and they think
right.
they have the knowledge as well.
Yeah.
And they are completely different things. And that is affecting our day-to-day life.
Mhm.
I hear this all the time. Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
the ability to evaluate that information, to synthesize the information, to communicate the information.
to separate facts from opinions.
Mhm.
And also, how are you gonna fact check this information?
Mhm.
You can get any number. If I ask ChatGPT, tell me the light speed, like, I don't know, the number in meters per second or nanometers by second or something like that. It could give me any number. How do I know that that is the right number? Because it doesn't have a moral compass. It can lie to me. And it's done that before.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's it.
So that, well, Giovanna, I have another question for you.
Yes.
Distinguishing between knowledge and information will be important. As teachers, what does that mean in a classroom, in a lesson? How does that look different? So maybe there's an assignment that you can think of that we used to use, and now it needs to look more like this. What are those examples?
Before we will relay on maybe a written activity where you complete the words that are missing, and you teach this because the students need to know new vocabulary, so you expect them to recall the spelling of the words. Now they can look in Google and easily find that information. Now take away any written text or anything and just ask them to, okay, now we read about this information, you learn the words. Now I need you to write me 3 questions using the new vocabulary that you learned. How would you go from having everything that you had, all the information in front of you, to now create something? And I'm talking specifically about ESL, because my students are awesome filling out books. They are really great at writing exercises. But I ask them to, okay, now ask me.
Mm-hmm.
Like blank, like, what? What do you mean ask me? And I was like, yeah, we are talking about this. Now ask me the question. How do you do that? It's not that it's a new approach, it's just that it kind of let them know that it's not enough to have the tools. Your mind has to take those things that you use, that you learn, and create independently.
Mm-hmm.
I am scared about the future of our children. Like, they don't even answer you now. They are like, look at my phone. And I'm like, what do you mean? Tell me. They don't even read. They are like, look here. Or they let you the phone talk for them. Like, what? Yeah. I mean, technology is gonna continue changing. My daughter is an illustrator major at college. And we've talked a lot about the ethical implications of using AI to generate images. And she's like, it is not generating anything. It's stealing people's artworks and reusing them. And people are thinking that that is so creative. It is not. And it's the same thing. You can write, you can read what is in the book, you can read what is in your phone. Now you create something. Give it to me. I think that's gonna be the approach. I don't know.
Yeah. Right. Interesting. Okay, so thinking about that and keeping those evolving skills and our evolving approach to teaching in mind, I want to talk now about this idea of teaching for AI or integrating AI literacy into what we do in the classroom. Where are the opportunities for us to talk to learners and educate, which is our job, educate them about AI tools, how they can help them, some of the drawbacks, and really figuring out where this fits into the learning experience, acknowledging that, well, sure, first I should ask, who here is an AI instructor? That's your job. No, nobody. Okay. I knew that. I think I knew that. But this also, you know, as adult educators and preparing adults for the workforce and for future educational opportunities, we have to think about, okay, how can I create opportunities for AI or lessons on AI or awareness of AI to fit into what I'm teaching. So teaching for AI, a simple definition. Oh. Yeah, Google Applied Digital Skills has a great lesson plan for AI. I'm going to be sharing some curricular resources too. There are a lot of great things out there. But again, the challenge is, you know, if you're teaching math or ELA or ESL, you know, it's, you may not have time for them to specifically do an AI lesson. So, okay, so what is the what's of AI literacy includes competencies to engage confidently, critically, and safely with AI. And the how, a lot of people recommend that to teach for AI, we can think about how we embed it in different courses and areas. And also emphasizing that teaching for AI doesn't mean that you have to have a background in math or programming. But AI literacy is very simply what knowledge, skills, and attitudes learners need to navigate AI from a user perspective. So if you work with a parent in your class, what do they need to know? What do they need to be able to do? And what awareness do they need to then go home and make decisions for their family about the use of AI tools? Or how can they leverage AI to make their jobs easier? So thinking about knowledge, skills, and attitudes, these are some examples from DigComp. DigComp is the European framework for digital competencies or digital skills. And these are some examples that they have. So an example of of knowledge, right, is this awareness that sensors used in different digital technologies and applications generate large amounts of data, including personal data that can be used to train AI. So this is just a general awareness that if you have a smartphone, what is it called? An Apple Watch, right? Or a Fitbit, or any of these other kinds of technologies that you're carrying around and moving around with, that is generating data, and that data about where you went to eat last night or how fast your heart rate is shared with the companies that own those technologies. A skill is knowing how to modify user configurations or settings to enable, prevent, or moderate the AI system tracking, collecting, or analyzing data. So another data one, but this time not just an awareness, but a skill of being able to adjust your settings so that you have control over the data that you're sharing. An attitude, this is more of an ethical consideration, considering ethics as a core pillar when developing or deploying AI systems. So knowing that there is an ethical aspect to the use of AI. Teaching some examples from actual lessons include integrating data privacy concepts into a social studies lesson on human rights. So this is more, okay, well, what does all of that stuff look like in practice? If you're teaching about social studies and you're talking about human rights, then, and you include something around data privacy, that is integrating AI literacy into a social studies lesson. Integrating computational thinking into a language lesson in which learners are describing the steps of a process. So we know in ESL or even in ELA, we often teach, the steps of a process, writing about a process or communicating about a process. That connects to something known as computational thinking, where we know and learn about how to give computers instructions so that they can follow the steps of a process in order to compute. So another example of how AI literacy could show up in a subject area like ESL. We have developed this digital skills framework. It's called Bridges. It's a digital literacy framework. I'm putting the link to it in the chat. And when ChatGPT was released and we started talking more and more about AI and feeling like we should be providing some assistance and capacity building around AI, we thought, oh no, do we need an AI literacy framework? And we decided, that, well, we didn't just decide, I mean, we researched and thought about it, but we saw the many ways that AI literacy is actually an extension of existing digital literacy work. So I always like to emphasize that if you're already working with a digital literacy framework, or like Norma, you're already working on training learners to use Google tools, this AI literacy concept can be an extension or a continuation of that work that you're already doing. So these are the different domains and Bridges, and we're going to see how AI fits into these different domains. So in the foundational skills, we have gateway skills. Those are like the basic skills that you need to begin to engage with devices. We have device ownership, we have privacy and security, and then mobile skills. Those are the big overarching domains. So within that, when we look at the competencies that a learner might need, one example would be using a website's chatbot to find the information I need to troubleshoot. So that might fall into something like device ownership, those digital skills. Checking and reporting when a software I use is acting on harmful stereotypes. This is a teacher emoji, because we've included in Bridges competencies for teachers and educators. So having that awareness of when software is acting on harmful stereotypes, making an informed decision about purchasing an in-home virtual assistant. So I talked earlier about parents, right? And we have Alexa, we have Hey Google, we have all of these different virtual assistants in our home. And are we informed enough around the privacy and security aspects of AI to make informed decisions about purchasing those devices? This is a workplace competency. I can use store apps. It falls into that mobile to shop for break room supplies, which allows the store to learn about my shopping habits and preferences. So these are all just very discrete competencies related to AI that fit into a broader digital skills framework. I have more examples here, like giving feedback, likes, tags, ratings on movies and maybe in Netflix, and then you get similar recommendations in the future. That is AI literacy, because recommender systems use AI or are in that category of AI. Determining whether a help chatbot is human or AI based, using strategies to verify like Giovanna was saying, fact checking, right? To verify whether a shocking video of a known person might be a deep fake, talking to colleagues about emerging educational technologies and seeing how they apply to our work. In productivity, adjusting social media, feed content preferences to see more of what interests me. Again, going back to that recommender system. Writing a prompt to generate completely original images and music clips for a class project that falls into creation, and that prompting strategy, right? That's a little bit of a newer skill or a new version of searching strategies. I can avoid echo chambers and look for differing opinions on a topic, understanding that my actions impact what I see. So these are all just examples. They're very discrete examples of how AI fits into what we already think about as digital literacy. Now, the ways that we see digital skills, digital literacy, or AI literacy being taught in adult education, there are a few ways. You might teach it explicitly, like here's how you write an email in Gmail. So that's just direct instruction. Here's how you do this, and I can show you, and now you do it yourself. Or it might be contextualized. So maybe it's taught against the backdrop of another subject. So here, maybe it's a career pathways class, and we're teaching about email within the context of workplace readiness. Let's draft an email to your boss. That's contextualized. Perhaps it's integrated or woven into the fabric of learning. So in order for learners to engage in a lesson, and participate, they are having to interact with technology and build their digital skills. An example here might be just having learners open an email in order to access the assignment for that day. So these all teach email, but in different ways: explicit, contextualized, or integrated. Can you guys tell me in the chat if you are already teaching digital skills or digital literacy, which of these best explains how you teach digital skills? So are you teaching it explicitly, like that is the main focus? Here's how we use technology. Are you contextualizing it, so you're putting it against the backdrop of other subjects? Or are you integrating it into the learning experience? And maybe within a single lesson, you're doing all three. Let me know in the chat, how are you approaching this? Did I lose you with those I can statements? Gonna wait. Let's see. Okay, good. Norma said, I tend to do all three with Google Classroom. Okay, so you have some explicit, some contextualized, and some integrated. Yep, even just accessing Google Classroom, that's exercising digital skills that are integrated into the learning experience. Anyone else want to share? Giovanna uses explicit and contextualized. Okay. So let's look at more examples here. Let's say that we are teaching learners in a language class how to fill out a form with your personal information. And we put that into a digital environment. So we're actually filling out an online form instead of just a paper form. And then we set that against the backdrop of a job search. So this is an example of contextualizing that, right? What's the backdrop? It's a job search, which is a workforce skill. And then the AI literacy layer might be something like algorithmic bias where we can talk to learners about how applying for jobs online, there may be an algorithm that's sifting through those applications and pushing certain ones through in an automated way. So that gives us an opportunity to talk a little bit about AI. Here are some examples from curriculum that has been developed, and I'm going to put the link to this Day of AI in the chat. The AI Blueprint Bill of Rights. So in this lesson, learners evaluate and analyze different blueprints for human rights. And they develop an argument based on the blueprints and their own personal experiences. And AI literacy is contextualized here by having them identify the benefits and challenges of AI tools and reflect on necessary safeguards. So it's very much social studies, human rights, but it brings AI into that context. Here's another example. This is from AI EDU. They have a lot of great resources, and I love these snapshots for adult education in particular, because they're just really, they're kind of like if you wanted to do a bell ringer or like just something at the start of class that can develop academic skills and AI literacy. The AI snapshots are just for that. So you have just one single activity or thing to consider. So in this example, this AI snapshot, it talks about an AI called Hemingway that can mimic your handwriting style. And it's for handwriting recognition. And here, learners can develop and write arguments, brainstorming benefits and harms of this kind of technology. So again, in a writing lesson, they could think about what are the pros and cons and draft a short essay on that. This one is also from AI EDU. This is in, they have bigger lessons. The snapshots are just short little snippets, and then they also have some full lessons there. And in this example, the learners do an interview with ChatGPT, and they compare and contrast the role of AI and humans in information providing roles, such as an expert on a podcast. So it's a way for them to kind of interact with ChatGPT, do an interview, and then evaluate that interview and the information that it provides. That one might be good for something like a speaking lesson in an ESL context. So what we are going to do now, let's see how much time we have left. Yeah, we have time. We're going to get into a Zoom whiteboard, and we're going to brainstorm together some combined objectives that include an academic skill. So this might be like English, language, math, civics, or even like if you do career coaching, like workplace readiness type of skills. We're going to start with those main buckets first. Then we're going to think about how could we teach that skill in a digital environment. Okay, so if it's math, what's a tool, maybe like a spreadsheet that we might use that's digital to teach the academic skill. And then we're going to see if we can connect it to an AI literacy concept, okay? So we'll have academic skill, digital environment, AI literacy, and we'll put those together into a single objective that teaches an academic skill, integrates AI literacy, and the digital environment just helps us kind of make the connection, right? Because if we're doing it in a digital environment, then it's more closely connected to AI. Okay, and builds digital literacy skills. All right, so let's get into it. I'm going to stop sharing and open up the Zoom whiteboard. Has anyone here used Zoom whiteboard before? And I give you full permission, and I encourage you, if you can't think of any ideas, this might be an opportunity for you to use, you know what, ChatGPT, or that chatbot that we were trying to use earlier that had an error, or Claude, or Gemini, to help you come up with ideas. So while I'm pulling up the whiteboard, if you want to pull up one of those tools, you are welcome to leverage any resources at your disposal. Okay, hold on one sec, getting this up. Here it is, and open board. Okay, so you guys should be able to see this and you should be able to interact with it. Great. All right, so over on the left-hand side, you have the toolbar. Over in the top right is the sharing settings. And then down in the bottom right is where you can zoom and navigate, go to different parts of the whiteboard. You guys should be able to edit this. So if you zoom in, okay, I'm going to zoom in now. And if you want to drag, if you're using like a traditional mouse and you want to drag the board around, just right click to drag and move the board around, okay? You can zoom using the magnifying glasses on the bottom right. And what I want you to do is grab a sticky note. So if you're starting with academic skills, you're gonna grab a blue sticky note and drag it over. Wait, why is that not working? Are you guys able to grab the sticky notes? I'm not able to right now. No, okay, that's, oh, okay. Why did, okay, one worked. Hold on, let me see what's going on. Okay, well, you know what? Over on in the toolbar, just click on sticky note, click the blue one, and then you should be able to create your own. I don't know why those ones are like locked up. That's okay. So toolbar, right in the middle of the toolbar, there's a sticky note icon. And you can click on that and select a color, and then you'll draw it into the section you want to add to. So I'm going to add over here a math objective. Now I'm going to do ESOL because that's more my background. Let's say I want them to. Okay, we're going to use present simple to talk about daily routines. And then to put that in a digital environment, I'll use an orange sticky note. Are you guys okay? Having any problems? Just let me know. In the digital environment, maybe I would have them. Do I talk about daily routines online? Okay. Let's see. Okay, so here's my example. I'm teaching present simple to talk about daily routines, like on Mondays, I take my kids to school. I'm gonna have a Padlet as the digital environment with sections for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, where they can add their routines. And then in Padlet, there's a generative AI feature called I Can't Draw. So I'll have them generate an image of their routine. And oh, where are we now? Okay, have them generate an image of their routine and then evaluate the kinds of images that Padlet offers them. So kind of just bringing together my core objective, putting it into a digital environment where they can build digital skills, and then connecting it to AI literacy. You guys just unmute or let me know in the chat if you're having trouble with the whiteboard.
Yep, I can't write. Oh, okay, I see it.
Yeah, so if you once you draw the sticky note, you double click on it to start writing in it. So pull the sticky note, draw it to the size you want. Oh, well, actually, then mine just automatically does. But if I'm in another one that I've already created, I have to double click in order to get it to let me write. Is it working now?
Okay, the sticky note has, oh, wait a minute, sticky notes. Okay.
Can anyone write in the sticky notes?
I'm trying. Okay. I just put one word in there. I don't know if it worked.
Yeah, I see two. Is that
Okay.
you? Mhm.
Okay.
I put my sticky note, but I cannot delete it. So sorry.
Oh, okay. Oh, this green one here?
Let
Oh,
me see.
there.
I
It's done.
already was able. Yeah, there you go. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
I was going to mention something because right here, I feel ignorant about AI tools. Like, I know there are tools to analyze the text to see if there is any bias. There are tools to I don't know, to analyze if the text is formal or informal, if the language is social or academic or something different. Like that'll be really nice, but I am not at a point where I could use any of these for myself, and I am not gonna start like practicing with my students at the same time that I'm learning. I think that might be risky.
Yeah, so I think, I mean, you'll notice I'm not, well, I did explicitly mention a tool, but you don't need to mention a tool. I think if you want to just talk about the skill, Giovanna, then you could do that. So for example, um, if you're teaching learners how to write a formal email, then maybe an AI skill could be for them to learn how to prompt using prompt strategies and asking the AI to make an email more formal or give them feedback on their formal draft or give them something to compare and contrast. It's really just making a connection and seeing, okay, if I'm teaching this, are there any opportunities for me to also educate learners on AI? Doesn't have to be a specific tool, but just, if you can imagine something that you would want them to know about AI, how does that connect to the core objectives of what you're teaching them? Someone put use adverbs correctly. I'm gonna move this over here so it has some space. What is the opportunity there? I think an interesting one with adverbs or adjectives, you could think about using generating different types of media. And so, for example, if I want learners to use adverbs and get some practice with that, I could have them generate images of a let's say a person driving angrily versus a person driving happily. And just kind of, yeah, I think that might be an interesting way for them to see visually what the adverbs, how the adverbs change the image. And then it also might open up opportunities to talk about AI generated images. That's one idea I have for adverbs. I think a lot of the language ideas come naturally because these tools are so language driven. It's even harder for me to think of ideas. Well, also because I am a former ESOL instructor, that's probably why they come to me naturally too. But like for math, those ones and I also know that AI is really bad at math, so it's harder for me to think, okay, well, what would the connection there be? But maybe just, checking a problem or understanding a process better. Now, I see someone using the free like pen tool. If you rather have a text box, go to the toolbar where there's the T and you can add a text box if drawing is getting cumbersome for you. I don't mind if you draw, but just wanted you to know there's that tool. Another thing I wanted to say about Giovanna's comment with, oh, I don't feel so comfortable with the tools to even bring them to the classroom. That's valid. And I think we can all take the time to build our own AI literacy first and learn more ourselves as educators. By no means am I trying to pressure teachers to start using more AI in the classroom or be hasty. Just trying to kind of open up our imagination and help us think about, okay, if we're learning these new skills, how can we transfer that to what learners are learning as well? Develop our digital resilience alongside them. Even Zoom whiteboard. I was a long time Jamboard user, and Jamboard, Google's whiteboard product, is going away. So now I'm having to learn how to use Zoom whiteboard. And that's been a learning curve for me and something I felt like I wanted to get a little more comfortable with before I would bring it into, a professional development or a classroom, so to speak. Okay, use an AI generator to help translate personal skills into appropriate job skills. That's an awesome idea. I love that. I love that. I'm thinking especially of like moms in a family literacy program who maybe have I worked with a mom one time who wanted to, she had I think 3 kids and was an amazing mother, and she was looking toward, you know, all my kids are about to be enrolled in school. I want to start my career again. I forget what country she was from, but you know, she didn't have United States credentials. So, you know, we were trying to figure out the pathway there. And I think that would have been a really cool exercise for her is to say, okay, you know, I'm a mom, I have 3 children. This is what our daily routine looks like. What are some of the job skills that I could put on a resume to reflect all of these skills that I've been developing as a mother? That'd be cool.
Thinking is hard. Let me tell you that.
You're thinking hard.
I mean, it took me a while. Yeah. That's why it's
Yeah.
so nice when it can generate ideas for you, because sometimes you're stuck and you can just like give me ideas, and that's awesome. I like it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's been the number one thing that I've learned with teachers in Camp GPT is that they feel like it just helps them come up with ideas. And I keep hearing a starting point that like using ChatGPT or other tools is a great starting point for them. And then, of course, you know, they have the expertise, they know their students really well. So they have to refine things and make it better before they bring it to the classroom. But I think if all we do with generative AI is to give teachers new ideas and inspiration and a way to feel like they can, you know, bounce things around in the limited time that they have, then that's a good use of the tools, I think. Making connections like this, like I know it's hard for a lot of teachers to think about what digital skills they can teach in the context of what they're already teaching. So even just to come up with ideas for that, it's really great. Okay, wow. Okay, I just realized we're at time. I was having fun. I was really enjoying the conversation. But we are at time, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me in Camp GPT. I'm gonna pop back over to my slides and see if I have any closing things to share with you. I don't think so. I just want to always commend you on your digital resilience, your willingness to take on these new technologies and new approaches to working with learners and expanding your own skills. So you should feel proud of yourselves. I hope this has been useful and insightful for you. And if you have any questions or ideas, anything that you see that, you know, is really needed in terms of different resources that would help you on this journey, please reach out to me anytime. I would love to talk more with you. Thank you for taking the time. Have a wonderful afternoon and take care.